Okay, so let's talk about fear. And fear is something that will play a major part in your personal and work life. Why is that? Well, it's built in biology, so you can't run away from fear, unfortunately. As much as we'd love to, it's something that is innately ingrained into our psyche. In fact, it's part of our brain. In fact, every animal has a part of the brain that manages fear. It's called the amygdala, and it's responsible for that sort of fight, flight, and freeze response. So when we experience something from the outside world that we're uncomfortable with or we don't like, we tend to filter it in certain terms of fear. So it could be protection or it could be comfort. And when we get challenged on these things, we react in some extraordinary ways. And so one of the things I teach a lot of individuals is how to succeed and achieve. And in order to do that, we need to learn and understand how to sort of train our brain to manage fear. Because one of the key attributes of successful individuals is the ability to take risks and push boundaries. So an example of that would be someone like the Wright brothers, who everyone knows the Wright brothers as people who took the first flight. And of course, it wasn't as simple as that. They just didn't just turn up and suddenly it took off. They were actually bicycle shop owners, and they both suffered from depression, interestingly enough. But what stood out for them is the innate ability to challenge the status quo and try and find solutions to things. And although obviously taking flight and not actually understanding that actually when they crash, they may die, they could control that ability to control their fear, because their drive for success was so strong. And there are techniques that you can learn on how to manage fear, just like the Wright brothers. And an example of this would be the other parts of the brain that are very simplistic, that actually take us from the rest of the animal race to the human race. And there are certain parts of the brain that are sort of what we call adult or human, which just gives us the ability to ask really informed questions. So if we are fearful, what we can do is start saying to ourselves, or in a dialogue, saying, what am I actually scared of? What do I actually want? How is this fear stopping me? And how can I overcome this fear and gain what I want? What's the first step? Who do I know can help me? Who's been here before and overcome those fears? And these sorts of questions are unique to the human race because we have this capacity to think creatively and take risks over and above fear. And the other part of the brain that's quite interesting is the ability to connect those questions to action. Almost like the computer part of the brain, where you suddenly find these answers and then you have to decide that you're going to do something with those. And in a lot of my training programs, a lot of the interactions that I have with individuals and groups is about taking the innate fear that lots of people have and helping them reprogram their thinking patterns to ask more resourceful questions, to get more resourceful actions, so that they can take those risks and achieve more success. And although it's not easy, it is quite simple to do. And so just think about that. Think about now when you're worrying about something. For an example, if you want to lose weight and worrying that actually when you go to the gym you might look stupid or people might be judging you or it might be too much effort, think about actually what you want and the value in changing. And then break that behavior down and that value down into parts that are more manageable for you. And soon what you'll have is a little strategy for helping you move off the sofa and into the gym, because actually what you want is more important than what's holding you back. And we have to believe that in everything that we do.